Hello and welcome to docrafts TV. Later we'll be joined by the lovely Keren Baker, who's going to show us a really clever technique which is a chalkboard style, and she's going to be using the Papermania 12 Days of Christmas collection. But first I wanted to show you a project that features in the November issue of Creativity magazine, and it's this beautiful wreath which has been created by Sharon Dobson. And she's used the new Papermania tissue paper, which is just beautiful. It's got sort of text and beautiful illustrations on it. And she's also used the new X-Cut leaf dies, which are so versatile. Great for autumn, great for Christmas, as you can see. It's one of my real favourites. Hi Keren, thanks for coming along today. What are you going to show us today?
I'm going to show you this card, which is using a really simple technique called chalkboard technique, and it's just a way of creating a chalkboard look to your cards. It's quite modern and it's really easy to do.
It really does, doesn't it? It looks like a proper chalkboard.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, I can't wait to get started. Right, what's first?
Okay, so we're going to start off with our stamping. So I've just got some ordinary black, this side is actually textured, the Papermania texture cardstock.
Yeah.
Now you can use it both ways. If you use it the textured side, you'll obviously get a really good textured look. I'm just going to use the plain side for now because it's easier to stamp with.
And for that proper chalkboard look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
And I'm using the 12 Days of Christmas stamp set. I'm using a combination of mostly the word banner set and with the heart from the icons set.
Brilliant. These are fantastic, aren't
They're
they?
gorgeous.
So cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that they're a solid stamp as well, some of them, aren't they? And some of them are outlines. So
Really
that's really
versatile.
Good.
Yeah.
Love them. Good.
So in order to do this look, what I've done is I've actually stacked up the stamps actually on this acrylic block first.
Oh, brilliant.
And it means it's great because if you're doing Christmas cards, you're doing lots of sort of batch making Christmas cards, it means that you haven't got to individually work out. Yeah, absolutely, which is great.
Because they're unmounted, they're easy to line up as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're
really, really good. So I'll just put the last one on. So I'm just going to put them, and I'm lining them up with the grid marks on the acrylic block, which is really helpful.
That's really useful.
So just pop those on. Okay. And then we've got our entire block set up. So we're going to stamp now. And I'm using, you could use any pigment ink. I'm using the white because I'm obviously going with the white powder as well.
Fantastic.
So I'll just ink up the set, just lots of gentle tapping. So I'll just line it up, give it a good press. Now obviously, because you've got so many individual stamps, you want to make sure that you're pressing each individual stamp to make sure that they're all inked.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm just pressing all over.
And notice you're always keeping one hand on the block there.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
absolutely, so it doesn't
about.
wobble. Okay, so we've got our
Brilliant, that looks great.
So we're going to put the powder on. So I've just got some seafoam white powder.
We're having to work quite quickly because it's quite hot under the studio lights. So at home you've got a little bit more time, haven't you? Because it stays tacky quite a long time.
Absolutely. So I'll just flick the powder off and I'll just
move
take
that off
your
your hands?
That's brilliant. Now I've got, it's not too bad this piece of cardstock, but sometimes you get little bits of powder. So I just use a little paintbrush and just flick the bits off.
Oh, yes,
with this technique, it's not so important because you're actually going to smear white ink on it, but if you're doing embossing normally, you might want to take off the stray bits that are there.
Perfect.
So now we just need to do our embossing with our heat gun.
Lovely.
Okay, so I'll just turn my heat gun on. And if you just keep the heat gun positioned, and you don't need to wiggle it around, you just wait till you see a change in the embossing powder, and then just move it along. Okay, now to add a little bit of colour, what I'm doing is I'm just using ordinary pencils, and I'm just going to colour in a few of these little images. Just ordinary pencils, and I'm just scribbling on. And the fact that it's on black cardstock just gives the coloured pencils a completely different look.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, that looks great. It's a lovely sort of muted look, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see here, I mean, I've actually scribbled slightly over the white, and that doesn't matter either.
I like that. I think that gives it a really
Yeah, it makes the colour pop.
Yeah, it's really good.
And as you're colouring in, what you might find is if you're a bit heavy-handed, you'll find some of the embossing might actually flick off slightly, but that's okay as well, because it's quite a messy look, so you can be really sort of slap-hand and slapdash here.
Yeah.
Okay. So once we've done a little bit of colouring, I'm just going to add white pencil, and again we're sort of giving the whole chalk look, and I'm just going to accentuate around the little images, so just keep colouring in those. And again, I'm doing them really, really quickly. You'd probably spend a bit more time. Now for the messy bit, if you don't like getting your fingers dirty, obviously you could use this with a brush or a sponge or something, but just add a little bit of this white pigment ink, and what we're going to do is we're just going to smear it on just as if it's chalk left over.
I'm a big fan of getting your fingers a bit inky.
That's
always fun.
absolutely. And you can add as little or as much as you want. I mean, you know, you don't need to put too much on if you don't like the look. So the last thing we're going to do to add that extra bit of dimension is we're going to ink it back up again, and we're going to slightly offset the stamping to give a kind of shadow look to our text. Now I'm not going to actually put all of this on, so what I'll do, and again this is really versatile having the individual stamps, I'm just going to take a couple of the stamps, put that one back on, okay. So just take a couple of the stamps off, so we're not actually going to ink up every single bit. Okay, which other one should I take off? This one here. So we're left with just a selection of these, and then we're going to ink them again. Now, obviously, you don't have to line them up exactly. If it's slightly to the right or it's further than you wanted, it doesn't matter because it's just all adding to the chalkboard look.
Perfect.
Okay, so re-ink again, and then just try and line it up roughly where it's been before, and then just move it slightly to the right or the left or up or down, and we're just going for a subtle look. Okay, so just keep pressing all over, making sure that you've covered it all. And then you just have a very delicate, it's not quite a shadow, but it's just adding to it.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I do like that. It's
great.
Lovely.
And what I've done before, I've actually added already embossed and cut out, because that's going to go on the front of the card. So that was just the extra bit of embossing we did earlier.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's going to be your banner.
Yeah, that's right.
Here.
It just, again, it's just adding a bit of dimension to the card.
Got you, brilliant. Okay.
I've used the Bright's capsule collection.
Brilliant.
Okay, spots and stripes.
Can't go wrong with some lovely spots and stripes.
And these are great because you can use these all year round. I mean, obviously I've used Christmas sentiments here, but I mean, you could use these papers to make a birthday card with exactly the same technique. Yeah. Okay, so we're just lining up our paper.
They're a nice weight as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're not too floppy.
Weight.
I like it to be, you know, a little bit of substance to it, so you can just dress it in whatever.
There we go. And the spots are quite nice because it's easy to line up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good tip.
There you go.
Yeah.
Choose your papers. Okay, so what we need to do is just add all the embellishments
Lovely.
now. I'm going to add and make a little rosette for the bottom.
Oh yeah, I can see him.
Okay, and it's using the craft pattern tape. And all you're doing is just folding and pleating. So what I'm going to do is just put the tape, so half of it is on the circle and half of it isn't. And if you just, I'm left-handed here, but you just stretch a little section out, and then you're just going to sort of push it back on itself, press it down, and because it's already adhesive, it's nice and quick and simple. So you're just pleating, try not to stick my fingers to it, and you just turn it, and you're just going to go round. And once you've done it, when I get to the end, all I do is I just cut a little section slightly longer than where you're going, and then just fold it back on itself so we've got no rough edges showing.
Very nice.
And then just sort of fold it into itself. Now obviously I've done this quickly, but if you wanted to make it nice and neat, you can actually go around and sort of trim off any bits that are sticking up at the edge. So all I need now is a button, and I'm going to make myself, with the twine, here we go, a little bow. Just make a loop, wrap it around your finger, and then just put it through. I mean, I just think, just think shoelaces. Everybody can tie shoelaces. Yep. But when we start talking about bows, everyone gets a little bit, oh no, it's a bow, I can't tie it.
Total phobia, isn't it, for some people?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll just snip off the ends here.
Lovely.
Okay, so just to build my card up now, I'm going to attach it to my base using the adhesive squares. So we'll just put this on here, so just adding a little bit of depth there. And then we'll get this banner. And the banners are brilliant because you can put whatever sentiment you want in the middle.
That's really clever, isn't it?
Yeah, they're really nice addition to the stamp range.
And they're quite nice for scrapbooking as well, because you can maybe have them underneath your photograph with some journaling or something on them. So yeah, really good.
There we go. So we'll add that. So next we'll just pop our little. Now what I'm going to do, because I've actually increased the height with these adhesive squares, what I do need to do is just add a couple on the bottom, because obviously the height on this bit is higher than the bottom bit.
Sure.
Just saves it.
Yeah, leaning,
otherwise it ends up getting creased. So we'll just add that to the bottom.
That's much treat.
Then we're going to add our little button. Okay, add our button on. And then we're just going to add our little bow. There we go. Obviously I have to leave that to dry. There we go. Now the final touch is not going to want to stick there, is it? I'd go away and leave it for a few minutes. And the final touch is just to add some faux stitching around the edges, which is another favourite of mine. And that's just using a gel pen. And again, you know, if you're not into sewing but you want to emulate the look of sewing, this is brilliant.
It's really quick and easy,
yeah,
isn't it?
And it doesn't need to look as if it's absolutely perfect. There we go.
Brilliant, that's beautiful. And there's the finished project. Right, if you've enjoyed this episode and you want to have a go, maybe emulating the chalkboard technique, we'd love to see what you've created using that same technique. So why not drop us a picture and a little bit of information about what you've done to our email address, which is tv@docrafts.com, and we might be able to tell your story and show your project on a future episode of Do Crafts TV. Until next time, happy crafting.